afternoon, friends. Welcome back to Dream Big Today. This is our new Nuggets, and I am so glad that you have an opportunity to join me. And maybe you're not watching me live. Maybe you're going to be watching later today or tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Just join us at any time. Today, I want to talk about Psalms 120. It's short, there's only 7 verses. And this is a song for pilgrims ascending to Jerusalem. Now, in just a little bit of this, I'm going to go give you a little more background. The Psalms 120 through 134 are called pilgrim psalms or songs of ascent. They were sung by those who journeyed and thus ascended to the temple for the annual feasts. Each psalm is a step along the journey. Psalms 120 begins the journey in a distant land in hostile surroundings. And so then we go on from there. And so, can you just imagine being them and singing as you're in hostile territory? It doesn't really seem like it makes a whole lot of sense. Would we be singing in hostile territory? We would be hiding in the bushes probably. But let's jump into this. I took my troubles to the Lord. I cried out to him and he answered my prayer. So in my other version, it says, in my distress. Another one says, in my trouble. I took my troubles to the Lord. Now, who do you first take your troubles to? Do you get on social media? Do you call a friend? Or do you just dwell in it? We have to have somebody to discuss this with. We should always take it to the Lord first and pray about it, and then ask God what you should do about that. Should you reach out to somebody? Should you just continue praying until he releases you? In my distress, now I want you to think about this. In Luke 22:44, Jesus prayed, and being in distress, he prayed more earnestly. He did not give up or give in. He dug in. And that's what we should do. We should earnestly pray to the Lord during those times. The psalmist is a pressured pilgrim. The emphasis is where he went first, and that was to the Lord. Rescue me from liars and from all deceitful people. See, where he's at, and we'll talk about where he's at here in a second, but the Passion Translation says, so come and deliver me now from this treachery and false accusation. Isn't that miserable whenever you've got somebody that is always trying to stir up strife around you, lying about you, saying things that may be partially true. Maybe they throw a little truth in to make their lie believable. That sounds like the enemy, right? Verse 3 says, O deceptive tongue, what will you do? How will he increase your punishment? You'll be pierced with sharp arrows and burned with glowing coals. These deceitful liars will become victims of their own lies. And then verse 5, how I suffer in far off Meshech. It pains me to live in distant Kedar. I am tired of living among people who hate peace. Now, Meshech and Kedar were known for being warlike. And as the pilgrims are heading back on their journey, and of course, like I said, this is talking about them singing a psalm during each step of the move. This Meshech was a nation far to the north of Israel, Kedar a nation to the southeast. Both were known for being warlike and barbarian. Because a psalmist couldn't have been in two places at one time, he was lamenting that he felt far from home and surrounded by pagan people. Oh man, there's no place like home. But you know what? Sometimes you can't go back to home. It's all different. So let's step on in verse 7. I search for peace, but when I speak of peace, they want war. So there's a contrast here. The writer, which is unknown, one said it could possibly be Hezekiah, but we don't know for sure. But the writer searches for peace, but the other ones want war. Well, you can be around people that just want to stir up strife. That's all they know. They are always in a battle. They're in an eternal battle, internal battle that is eternal, basically, because they don't like to be and do anything else. They enjoy that. If we get used to things like that, then we won't understand what it's like to try to be in peace. The godly speak words of peace, whereas the ungodly sow discord and adversity. And let's look really quick, because I have time, at what is the fruits of the Spirit and what does it say that you shouldn't do. If we go to Galatians 5:19 through 21, 19 said, now the deeds of the flesh are evident, which are immorality, impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmities, strife, jealousy, outbursts of anger, disputes, dissensions, and factions, envying, drunkenness, carousing, and things like these, of which I forewarn you. And so I search for peace. See, if you entertain any of these things, you're never going to have peace. The fruit of the Spirit in verse 22 of Galatians 5 is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against these things there is no law. I search for peace. I actively search for peace. This psalm begins speaking of distress and ends with war. The writer is definitely stressed, but he has taken, excuse me, his troubles to the Lord, praying about it, and that changes everything when we do that. So what do we do with this? Our first act should be prayer. We should be characterized by peace. Romans 12:18 tells us, if it is possible, as far it depends on you, live in peace with everyone. Can you just kind of let some of that stuff roll off your back and not take it personally? Can you just, excuse and forgive somebody for a misspoken word? Maybe your prayer should be something like this: Lord, preserve me from those who attack me with the words. I leave vengeance in your hands. Protect me and keep me faithful in a hostile world. Make me a person of faith. We're going to be in this journey for many years as long as we're still breathing. We're going to be in hostile territory, unlike what these people were. We still have our own. And you know what? We need to dig into the word and remember what the fruit of the spirit is: love, joy, peace, so on. So, thank you for joining me. Melissa, thank you for being with me today. And Elizabeth,